Good morning. It's Cohn phone time. Hope you guys all have a nice Saturday planned out. I do. Me and my wife are getting out of town for the night this afternoon. We're going to go for a long drive in our new car, basically just to take a drive. So I figured I'd be on for about maybe 2 hours, hour and a half before I go. There's not a lot of Niners news right now. The news is John Lynch coming out being like, basically, nothing to see here, nothing going on. I don't know if you buy that or not, but the Niners are trying to give us no topics to talk about. And I'm not going to stand for that because my job is to talk Niners. So we're going to do it. So what I'm thinking is what you can do is you can come on the show. If you watch me, I have a lot of opinions. I make a lot of takes. You can argue with me. You can take me to task. You disagree with my take on Justin Fields. Let's talk about it. You got something to say to me. We can do it. So get your questions ready. I'll be here for the next 90 minutes at least. Real quick, before I start, if you weren't here yesterday, my dad is home. He had back surgery. He was in a rehab facility for 2.5 weeks, which is just a hospital. He was in a hospital bed, and he can walk. I took him home yesterday. The Cohn Zone is back on Tuesday. Me and him. So if you missed him, he'll be back. All right. 49ers fan was going to go first, but he left, so he'll have to wait. And now we got Niner fans since 84, man. How you doing?
What's going on, Grant?
What's going on with you, man?
Just sitting here on a beautiful Oregon Saturday morning, listening to you.
Nice.
Wanted to say big shout out, man. You guys you just creating content all the time. I appreciate it, bro.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
I grew up in the Bay. I'm a couple years older than you, so listening to you just kills me, cracks me up. It's like listening to everybody back home. Grew up in San Francisco.
Oh, nice, cool.
San Mateo. So
nice.
All right, my question for you is DBs.
Okay.
Do we have anybody? I know we got Jared Maiden floating around back there. I know we got a couple other guys that have kind of switched in and out.
Yeah.
Watching a lot of tape, J.C. Horn is that dude. We need J.C. Horn.
Yes.
I want J.C. Horn back. He's big enough to cover DK Metcalf one-on-one all day. I just don't see that happening.
He reminds me a little bit of Jalen Ramsey. I don't know if he's quite as fast as Ramsey was, but he reminds me of Jalen Ramsey.
I don't think he needs to be as fast as Jalen Ramsey because he's bigger and he's got a bigger attitude.
Yes, he's so physical. Yes.
And the thing with him is his catch-up speed is just ridiculous.
Yes. So that's your number one target, J.C. Horn with the 12th pick?
Absolutely.
And
I just don't think any of the other prospects have that physical jam. I mean, Surtain's good, but I don't think he's big enough for what we need. We got some big guys in our division that we have to deal with.
Surtain is not a great matchup against DK Metcalf. Horn is.
No.
Horn is terrific. Yes.
Yes,
now, I keep going to the offensive line because I think it's such an issue, and especially if Trent Williams leaves. But, I mean, cornerback's a pretty big issue, too. They don't have any starters there. You could argue it's just as big of an issue.
Yeah,
I mean, the only thing is the defense was good last year, but if you lose Jason Verrett, who knows what that you lose Robert Saleh, you really do need some talent on that side. So what would you do? Do you think he's going to fall to 12?
Yeah, well, I don't know. A lot of mocks have him going as late as 20. So
you could trade down for him. You could trade down for him.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we do have all these bigger issues. I don't see him taking him. I want him real bad. My question was, if we don't end up getting a guy of that caliber, that stature in the draft,
yes,
do we have enough depth? Do we have anybody hanging around possibly that we can kind of shuffle pieces and be okay?
Maiden is a nickel. He might be able to replace K1. And I think Maiden is going to be surprising. He was one of those undrafted guys who looked the part last year. And usually in year two, some of the Niners undrafted guys are great. He might be one of them. But in terms of outside corners, really the only one. I thought Akello did well against DK Metcalf week 17. He gave it the touchdown catch to Tyler Lockett at the end. That's a different matchup. Against Metcalf, he basically didn't give up much. So I don't know if they can bring back Akello Witherspoon, but he'd be one cheap option, and then they could get an older guy like Xavier Rhodes, who I think is still excellent. But he's 30. But he's like the original J.C. Horn. Xavier Rhodes was really good like 5 years ago. You could get him. But otherwise, J.C. Horn is probably the best you could do.
Yeah, I know. And it seems like a lot of these guys, like even Akello's a risk. I don't want to pay Akello like a starter or consider him a starter.
Right.
That dude, his confidence is shattered in front of the world so many times.
So many times.
I mean,
yes,
good for him.
Yes.
Good for him. You picked it up. You saw an opportunity to look good in free agency, and you strung together some games. That ain't good enough to be my starting point.
Exactly. What he needs to do is go somewhere for like a vet minimum contract and prove it again.
Yeah.
Prove it again. Leave and go do it again. Yeah.
Yeah. But I just don't want to be depending on Akello's confidence, if that makes sense.
Look, if the Niners take JC, hell of a pick. It may not be their number one need, but it's a need, and he could be the best player available when they pick. So how are you going to knock it? I love JC Horn. See what they do.
I mean, if we don't go for a QB, trading back, trying to pick up a guy like Slater or whoever's coming after him, and then going after JC Horn, if you can get him before, say, the Steelers or the Patriots, I mean,
that would be ideal.
That'd be the way to. That would be. That's
ideal,
a couple teams that are projected to look at him pretty hard. His tape just keeps getting better, though.
He's so physical. I can't remember a college cornerback that was like that. Maybe Ramsey. Maybe Ramsey. My favorite corner last year was C.J. Henderson. He was not like that. He was not like that.
No. Watch his Auburn tape.
I will.
He is throwing people all over the place.
I was watching his Florida tape. He really, really did a great job against Kyle Pitts, who's going to go ahead of him in the draft. Yeah. So, all right, man. Well, go have a great day in Oregon, dude. Where in Oregon are you?
Coos Bay.
I've never heard of it, but I bet it's nice.
Yeah, it's out on the coast by the Reedsport National Dunes. Everybody comes up from the Bay Area down there to our Bay Area to go ride the dunes on their dirt bikes. So,
all right, man. Well, have a great day, man. Thanks for calling in.
You too, buddy.
Appreciate it. That was cool. What's up, Ben?
Hey, Grant. What's up, man?
What's going on, man?
So I was watching what you're doing a little bit this week. And first of all, I want to say I appreciate you for shouting me out on those videos you put out and on the article you put out too, man. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
But
did I do anything for you? Did you get any subscribers?
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah, man.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Helping out.
All right.
But I was watching some of this Justin Fields tape you were going over. I watched the 2 games you did, so I watched what you did last night and then a few weeks ago.
Against Alabama. Okay, yeah. So what do you see?
I also watched the Clemson game. I just want to preface by saying
he was very good against Clemson.
If you want to see Justin Fields' best game,
at his best,
go watch Clemson.
Yes,
I'll tell you why I'm into Justin Fields. It's for. I think there's a lot of positives with Justin, and before I get fully into this, I have a nugget I'm going to drop at some point, so just be ready for that.
I'm ready. All right.
But I think with Justin Fields, the thing I would be really into if I were drafting him is the fact that if you look at him up to his college, up until he goes to Georgia, up until he goes to Ohio State, what he was doing beforehand. I mean, those Elite 11 camps are super famous, and you can go and watch them on YouTube and all that stuff. He beat out Trevor Lawrence in the Elite 11 camp they did when they were both like 18 going into college. And if you look at his college tape, there's a few bad games in 2020, but man, if you look at his 2019 year, there's nothing but positives there. Up until the Clemson game, he had only thrown like 1 interception that entire season. I mean, he put on a really good 2019 season. So I'm into him for all those reasons. And then I would ask you this, Grant. I think the way I've been trying to measure rookie quarterbacks is off the Baker Mayfield scale, is that if you can get to that skill level or better, you are by far and away worth it. It makes sense money wise, like everything, right? So I think he can be that level of player, if not better, by his 2nd or 3rd year. I don't think that's out of the picture or out of the question at all. And I think in the Shanahan system and in our offense, he would be really interesting in that he would open up the playbook way more than anyone we have on the roster now. I think there's no question about that. The deep balls he would be able to throw. I think some of the red zone stuff we do with him in terms of RPO and all that kind of stuff, that could really unlock some aspects of the offense that just haven't been unlocked yet in San Francisco. So I'm interested in him for all those reasons. And then I think when you look at the criticisms of him, you look at all the one-read stuff, a lot of that is also just because of the way Ohio State runs their system, the way they run their offense, and the way they ask him to do things. So I would be into him for all those reasons. But again, I saw what you were saying and some of the negatives you were saying about him, and I think those are really great things to point out. But I would argue on the other hand, if you look at all the other quarterbacks who would be available to them in the first round, they have worse weaknesses and things that you just can't make up one way or the other. With Mac Jones, it's physical. I think he would have, in the Shanahan offense, the least downside of all of those guys. Am I wrong?
Look, I'm not going to make definitive statements about these quarterbacks because it's hard. But I'm just telling you what I see. And I definitely see why he was so hyped out of high school, why everyone thinks he has the upside. I mean, look at him, man. He's huge. I mean, he's not tall, but he's thick, and he's a really fast, good athlete. I mean, strong. He's got it all. He's got all the tools, the physical tools, and his highlights are great.
Yeah,
and
I was just going to say real quick, I love your comparison for him in terms of Dak Prescott, because I think the body, that's very similar. The body is
the same body.
It's the same. So
it's the same body. And he might even be faster than Dak Prescott. He could be Dak Prescott with 4.5 speed.
Definitely.
All I'm saying is, like, when you watch him on television, he's impressive. When you watch him on his highlights, he's impressive. And he only has had a few bad games, but when you watch the coaches film of those bad games, and even the good games, what I noticed from him, and maybe it's nitpicky, but all I'm saying is he's a project. I don't think he's ready to go.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons, the inexperience, and also Ohio State. Like, a lot of people say, well, it's not his fault. It's the nature of the offense. Well, okay, whatever it is, hasn't had a lot of reps of doing what he's going to have to do in the NFL. It's not his fault. It's Ohio State's fault. That's one of the reasons Ohio State doesn't produce NFL quarterbacks. Historically, they're not really preparing quarterbacks for the NFL. They're preparing quarterbacks to win the Heisman and put up great numbers in college. So anyway, when I see him on the coach's tape, and you tell me if you saw the same thing, I see a guy who, first of all, has a ton of time and space in the pocket, whether he wants to use it or not. He just does. But all these quarterbacks at great schools do. He has a ton of time and space in the pocket. Also, when you slow it down, and it's easy for me to see it in slow motion, but I'm not playing quarterback. He has to see it quick. When you slow it down, I feel like on every play at Ohio State, there's one guy open, at least one guy open. And his ability to find that guy quickly and efficiently isn't there yet, in my opinion. Like, he doesn't see he doesn't see a lot of open guys. And it's okay, because he's so athletic. He can hold the ball. He can run. I mean, he can make things happen even if he's not executing like precisely. And that execution comes with experience. So all I see is a guy who doesn't really execute that well right now. He could in the future. And, maybe on the Niners, that would be the good place for him to develop. But also, like, the other thing that bothered me against Indiana, Indiana was a really good defense with a really good defensive coordinator. What I showed in that clip was they kept bringing that same blitz up the middle. You saw what I'm saying? Like, where they'd have like 2-3 guys coming in the A gap or the B gap. And it took him until the fourth quarter to actually beat that with a throw. And it's like, that's an experience to me, because when I watch Sam Darnold in the NFL, it's a lot of that stuff. It's like a very good athlete, not as good of an athlete as Fields, but a very good athlete who doesn't quite know how to play the position, and defensive coordinators take advantage. Oh, you don't know what to do against a blitz? Well, let me just show you nothing but blitzes in this game. That's what's going to happen to him, and he'll develop or he won't.
Well, and I think that's an excellent thing to point out, and I completely 1,000% agree with what all you're saying. And what I would say to that is, I think, just like what I was saying earlier, I think if you take the Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, you take all those guys, Justin Fields, I think, would be the best option in terms of what the Niners could develop with him and what they could actually turn him into.
Yeah,
that's why
compare him and Mac Jones. Mac Jones has no physical gifts. Justin Fields has all the physical gifts. Mac Jones has developed anticipation because he has to have it. Justin Fields hasn't yet. Justin Fields has not. When I watch Justin Fields, he sees a guy open and he throws it. He's a little late. And I think that's part of the reason he doesn't throw a bunch of picks. Kind of like Tua at Alabama. He sees it, he throws it. The guys are open a lot of the time, and he has time and space to do what he's got to do. That's
so, Grant.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you, because I'll get to my nugget that I was telling you about in a second. After this, what's the connection with Kyle Shanahan? Because I know I saw the picture of them at the quarterback camp. Is there anything besides that, or is that just a picture that was getting thrown?
I mean, Kyle and his dad basically have their own Elite 11. It's called the Quarterback Collective, and it's run by, I think, their agent. I forget, Richmond Flowers. I mean, they're very much. I think they fund it. It's very much their thing, and they want to promote it. And the way you promote it is to get the best high school quarterbacks in the country to come. And Justin Fields has been hyped forever. So having Justin Fields at your camp is an advertisement, right? I mean, it's not like you're like, oh, we don't want. Yes, you want Justin Fields. He's a high school kid. He's got a lot of attention. Help him. And I don't know if it means that they feel he's a perfect fit for what they're doing in the Niners. It just means that he was a perfect fit for helping grow the quarterback collective 5 years ago.
Okay, well, that's fair enough. And the only reason I bring that up is because I'm about to bring up what I'm about to bring up
let's
next.
do it. Let's do it.
I did my deep dive. It's really interesting when you look into these guys, who they're connected to, who they know, and I've been trying to do all the connections. Do you know who his agent happens to be, Grant?
Whose agent?
Justin Fields.
Oh, yeah. Deshaun Watson's agent.
Yeah. You know what? No. That's not the point I'm getting to. The point I'm getting to is, you know who else is within that agency and is who underneath that umbrella of athletes first? Just rack your brain for a second, Grant.
Athletes first. Well, Jalen Ramsey, right?
General Manager John Lynch.
Oh my God.
Yes, he is represented by the same agency that's going to be representing Justin Fields. I tweeted this out earlier.
Oh my God.
I saw that last night while I was doing my internet research at like 2:30 in the morning, man. I saw that and I was like, holy, like that matters, right? Like that's something that I saw, and that's the only reason I can bring up the Kyle Shanahan thing even, is that because you look at like it's very fair to point out, and as you know, Grant, a lot of like the coaching stuff with the NFL, a lot of the draft stuff at times is about who you know, the connections. I mean, obviously you have to take best player, but the fact that John Lynch can just call up his agent anytime he wants probably doesn't hurt either.
You're probably right. Look, we also have seen that Kyle and John sometimes have a difference in opinion about quarterbacks. I think John Lynch is much more enthusiastic about Jimmy Garoppolo than Kyle.
Fair enough.
I think what they look for is different. I don't even know what John Lynch looks for. Kyle is very specific in what he looks for. And I'm telling you, what Kyle looks for, in my opinion, is a guy who can execute first. Mobility, off-script stuff is great, but it's secondary. And what I watch Justin Fields is a guy who's not executing that well now. And from Kyle's perspective, I think it's going to drive him freaking crazy, especially if you're taking him round one, you have to play him. I just don't see it, but maybe it's possible. Your nugget is very interesting, and maybe John Lynch gets him and pulls the move like he did with Jimmy Garoppolo and says, hey, sorry, Kyle, there's your quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And maybe it's to save their job, or John Lynch's job, because quite frankly, I think it all depends on what John Lynch wants and how long he wants to be here. But if you're John Lynch, I mean, the hot seat and who the Niners are going to blame if things go wrong, like next year, it's going to be you. You're going to be the scapegoat. Like there's one else right now. So unless like if I'm John Lynch, I'm sitting there, you know what a quarterback gets you? Gets you an extra few years of
and if you trade for Justin Fields, everyone will praise you. Everyone will say that you're back, that you're a good GM.
And I think the main point is that you're making a decision on the quarterback. Yes. You're not just kicking it down the road like they have been. I mean, that's the problem with the Niners right now, is they keep kicking the quarterback can down the road until they're like, oh yeah, we'll just we'll figure it out, right? We'll figure it out. They're not like. I don't know. So I think, I saw that John Lynch thing last night. Because you can literally go through this agency's website. You can go through all their clients. They have a slideshow of everyone: Aaron Rodgers, Nick Foles, third, John Lynch.
Ooh, that is just a great little nugget that we all need to investigate. The connection, not between Kyle and Justin Fields, but John Lynch and Justin Fields, because the connection between John Lynch and Solomon Thomas led to the worst draft pick of all time. I'm not saying Justin Fields will be that, but if he does work out, he'll be the first Ohio State quarterback ever to do it, ever. So Godspeed, Justin Fields. Ben, great stuff. I'll be back on tomorrow if you want to jump on again tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, I'll jump on tomorrow.
All right,
have a good one.
Great to see you, man. You too. Hey, 49er fan.
So before I get to my points, what's the best way to contact you?
Email Grant Cohn, one word, at Gmail. GrantCohn.
Wait, hold on.
Write that. It's my first name followed by my last name.
Wait, capital?
Nope. Undercase. Okay. Although it's not case sensitive, so don't worry about it. He's writing it down, guys. Just a second.
At what?
He's writing it down. At gmail.com. Am I in trouble?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So what's on your mind, man?
So, Justin Fields, I watched a lot of him because I am a Michigan fan.
Let's
And
talk.
let me just tell you, he is the biggest bust in the NFL draft ever.
Why?
Because, like, the Indiana game, he threw 3 picks. His reads are like, they're so late, and he throws in
They're
the complete.
so late. Dude, I'm watching this guy's film and I'm thinking, what is everyone seeing with this guy? Like, he never executes a play correctly, ever.
Yeah. And then I watched him against, like, Alabama. That game was like, I don't know, but what Ben Meyerson said, that's pretty crazy because I really hope we don't get him.
I just think there's a very good chance that he'll be like a spectacular bust because the expectations are through the roof. He's supposed to be Cam Newton, Deshaun Watson, and he's going to come in and be Sam Darnold with a little bit more speed, and people are going to be like, what the hell is wrong with him? He's going to get a coach fired. So you know what I'm seeing.
Yeah, the thing is with do you really think Kyle Shanahan's going to allow that? Because John Lynch has no power in the organization. Well, a little bit, but not much, really.
I mean, he might allow it. He allowed John Lynch to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo and then pouted about it afterward and said, well, it wasn't my first choice. You know, I went into a depression. You don't know. I don't know. I just feel like when Kyle watches what Fields did at Ohio State, he's not going to be impressed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me see. I think there is really, I mean, I get what you're saying about Kellen Mond, but all of the quarterbacks in this draft are very hit or miss, risk.
Except for Lawrence, I agree. There's going to be 2 franchise quarterbacks from this draft, probably. One is Lawrence. The other one is God knows. Probably not Justin Fields, though. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and but a few things I learned from Justin Fields. I went back and watched the Indiana game and the
I was
Alabama
watching the
game.
Northwestern game this morning. It's way worse than the Indiana game. God.
In both games, actually, I've watched both of them, but because they're both big games. In both games, what I noticed from him is that his defense carried him. He didn't have to do anything. He made as many mistakes. It was practically like, go out there, your defense will carry you, throw 4 picks, we don't care.
Northwestern, every time they passed the ball, something bad happened, it felt like. And then they'd be like, let's just hand off to Trey Sermon. 30-yard run, 50-yard run.
Yeah, that game, he broke Ezekiel Elliott's record.
They must have ran for like 400 yards in that game.
No, Trey Sermon ran for like 330 or something like that.
Yeah, and Justin Fields still found a way to turn the ball over like 2 times. Like, dude, all you have to do is hand off. You're going to beat Northwestern. What are you doing?
Yeah. So like from the Indiana game, what I saw is like he's missing reads, but then like he's a one read guy, and I get what you say about like that doesn't really matter, but like he's a little bit actually like Jimmy because
he has no idea.
He's one read. He gets a little bit skittish in the pocket, and yes, he's mobile. But in the NFL, he's going to not be as mobile because
he's not elusive.
It's not going to be as easy.
He's fast, but I don't think he's super elusive. What he does is he breaks tackles in college. Like he throws people off him. He's so strong, but I don't know if that's going to work in the NFL as much. I think he's going to be more confined to the pocket in the NFL, and he wants to run the ball. You can see it. And like, hey man, Indiana's a good defense or this or that. Like, go watch the tape. His receivers are open all day, and he doesn't see him quick enough. He's not necessarily a one quarterback. I just feel like he's slow. Like it takes him a while to get from the first read to the second read. People always say, well, that's the nature of their offense. Okay, well, then he's not prepared for what he's got to do in the NFL. And 2, when you watch it, it's not just choice routes that he's staring out. It's everything. He waits till the guy is open before he throws the ball. He has no anticipation. He could develop it. I doubt he will.
Yeah, and I mean, like, he was good at running, like, but I don't know. The game is a lot faster in the NFL, and if it doesn't slow it down at the college level.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Like
his internal clock is really slow. It's like he has all this time and space in the pocket. Okay, I'm looking here. You're not open. I'm going to look here. And all Indiana and Northwestern do is, okay, we're going to blitz you, speed you up. Like, how quickly can you process? The blitz is here's where's your open guy? And he's like, I don't know, man.
And what I saw a lot of the time is when he scrambled out of the pocket, he didn't even hit his guys. Most of the time.
He's so late. And I'm not saying he's a quarterback. He's a slow processor. Slow processor.
In the Indiana game, actually, it's so funny because like he would throw a pick, and there was a few times where Indiana fumbled the ball.
Yes.
While picking up
He
the
threw
pick.
a pick while he was like parallel to the ground. He was going down. Could have been sacked. And he's like, no, let me just throw this up for grabs real quick to make this play even worse.
And in both games, he would they would pick it off, and then a few yards later they would fumble it, and so he would get so lucky every time.
I know,
and that's what I saw from him. So
to me, those are the three good defenses he faced this year: Indiana, Northwestern, and Alabama, and they all did a good job against him. Clemson, you can't tell me Clemson was a good defense. They stunk against Ohio State, and they played no one.
Actually, in that game, their middle linebacker got ejected.
Exactly, and that kind of
what's his name? Kozowski? No, what's his name?
Whatever.
I can't remember. But
anyway, yeah, I gotta move on to the
then,
next caller. But hold on, what were we gonna finish up?
Well, and I've been looking at our situation. We are really screwed as far as cap.
Yeah, especially if Jimmy doesn't go and Trent Williams comes. It's not a lot. And Fred Warner's supposed to get the extension.
So is it your email, grantcohn@gmail.com?
Yeah, where are you calling
from? Colorado.
Oh, okay. I can tell you're not from California. You got a whole different accent going on. I was going to guess Baltimore.
I've never been to California. I've been to 2 49ers games, but both of them were away.
I was going to guess Baltimore or something. You got that the wire twang, but you don't know what I'm talking
about.
Anyway.
No, North Carolina. I was from North Carolina.
See, I knew it. I knew you were from over there. I can hear it. You got that little. You got that little. Yep. All right, man. Good. Thanks for coming on.
Okay. Yep.
I called. I said Baltimore, and it was North Carolina. I was pretty close. I was pretty freaking close. Yo, what's up? How you doing, Candlestick 11?
Hey, how's it going, Grant?
Man, I'm doing great. What's up?
Nice. Yeah, not much. I was just gonna say, long-time listener. I've been with you since like 3,000 subscribers. So
hey,
really
thank you.
Excited to come on.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
I wanted to talk about Gardner Minshew. I think he could be a good replacement for Garoppolo.
Gardner Minshew. All right.
Yeah.
Make the case.
Well, I think that he's underrated. I think that he doesn't really have a good offensive coordinator in Jacksonville, and I think that he could definitely thrive under Kyle Shanahan's system.
I'm looking at his numbers. He started 2 seasons. He's 7-13 on a bad Jacksonville team, but his quarterback rating went from 91 in 2019 to 95 in 2020. He's super cheap, and he's pretty young.
That's what I'm saying. And see, I saw him when he started once on NFL Red Zone, and I just saw him like put together a drive, and I'm like, wow, that's like a good quarterback. One of those guys you kind of just want to watch, play the game.
I'm not a huge Gardner Minshew fan. I don't know what the upside is there, but as you say, he's another one of these cheap semi-veteran guys who could do what Jimmy Garoppolo does. Let's be clear. I feel Andy Dalton can do what Jimmy Garoppolo does. I think Gardner Minshew can do what Jimmy Garoppolo does. And if you gave Minshew these weapons and this coach, his numbers will go up. I think he can do better than Gardner Minshew, but I think it's really clever because I do think the best option this year is not starting a rookie, and it's not starting Jimmy. It's starting one of these cheap vets. And the list I have so far is basically 3 guys: Andy Dalton, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Cam Newton. Gardner Minshew is right in that group. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if Andy Dalton's a starter next year because he's cheap. If Cam Newton's a starter next year because he's cheap, Andy Dalton could be the Texans starter next year if they don't work something out with Deshaun Watson. So Gardner Minshew is an interesting option for the price. For the price.
And I think he has more upside because, like you said, he's young.
Yeah, and one more thing. You want these cheap quarterbacks who are young, but if they're not developed, what are you really getting? I mean, yeah, he's cheap, but he's not ready to go. What's cool about Gardner Minshew is he's pretty much what he is. I mean, there's not a lot more upside and development that he's him. He's limited. He can do what he can do. Andy Dalton is him. He's developed. He's not great, but he's developed. And I think what you want in 2021 is a cheap, developed veteran quarterback. Otherwise, the cheapness doesn't help you in that year. Yeah, you're not getting anything for it.
I don't see anyone in the draft that's like really awesome. I do like Trey Lance a little bit.
But what a project he is. I mean, he's not going to help you in 2021.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think Fields will either.
Yeah.
It's an interesting. I keep dismissing Gardner Minshew because let's put it this way. I know I got some contacts in Jacksonville.
Okay.
And
Not
they're
really
just
the best,
they're not that enthusiastic. I mean, I think they kind of feel that whole last season was wasted. You know,
Yeah.
What are you doing? Oh, they won one game. It was almost like he was the human tank.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he was kind of just being like CJ Beathard a little bit.
Yeah, kind of like that.
You know?
Kind of like that. Maybe they should take CJ and the Niners could take Gardner Minshew, a 1-for-1
swap, you know.
That'd be a nice little swap.
Yeah.
I think Gardner Minshew's definitely better than CJ. Put it that way. Way better.
Oh, for sure. Oh, definitely. And I wanted to ask one more thing. Who do you think we're going to take at 12?
Who do I think they're going to take at 12?
Yeah.
Well, they're in total denial about their offensive line, so probably not that. A quarterback, if it drops to 1, I don't know if he'll trade up. Otherwise, I think maybe J.C. Horn would be something they would do. Mac Jones, if he's there, I think they might go for him. I think Kyle Shanahan would fall in love with Mac Jones.
Totally. I think Naji Harris would be cool, honestly. That would be I was watching your thing, and I think that would be really cool behind, you know.
I think Kyle would – look, if Kyle would spend $30 million on Jerick McKinnon, I do think he would spend a first-round pick on Naji Harris. He doesn't seem – like the whole trend in the league is don't invest in running backs. And his dad started that trend. That's
right.
It kills me. I feel like Kyle goes against that. Like, nah, while everyone else is going cheap, I'm going to get these guys. Okay, well, Najee might be worth it.
Right, yeah, totally.
He might be worth it.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, that's a great call. Cool. Thanks for coming on.
All right, thank you so
I'll be
much.
more open-minded about Gardner Minshew for your sake.
I appreciate it.
Have a good one, man.
All right.
Yo!
Hey, how are
Live
you?
from the whip. I love it.
Yes,
man.
yes. I'm doing the nice best friend moving my best friend out of his house into another house. So boxes, all that good stuff. So you're saving me, so I appreciate that.
I'll be right back.
I'll be right back. That's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
So listen, friendly wager. I'll bet you a nice bottle of wine that I don't think the 49ers will draft a quarterback in the first 3 rounds of the draft. And if they do, and now that I know your email, I will ask to send you
all right,
a nice
man, for the sake of
wine.
it, let's do it. But everyone else watching, I'm not just going to be wagering bottles of wine with anyone. I go way back with this one here. So we're going to, okay, that's fair. They better take a quarterback on day 2. My God, if they don't do that.
And I will tell you why is
Tell me.
You know, I go back to Kyle's dad, Mike, right? I go back to what he did and what made him successful. And he had Steve Young when he was an offensive coordinator. And he won a lot of games with Steve Young. And I think Steve Young in the back of their minds is that gold standard.
Or John Elway.
Or John
Elway, yeah.
But he had Steve Young before, right? And then he went to John Elway. And then he went to another I think he had Brian Greasy, I want to say.
He had Greasy.
His dad.
He had,
and then he had
Plummer, and then he had Cutler. And Cutler always had supreme physical gifts. He couldn't put it together, but he had the footwork, the release, the arm strength, all of it.
The one time they were tasked to develop a quarterback was RG3, and look how that turned out. It did not turn out very well for Kyle and his dad. And I think maybe I'm wrong, but from an outsider's point of view, I don't see that much developing quarterbacks, both Kyle and the 49ers. I think they develop offensive linemen better than anybody else in the NFL. And that blocking scheme is pretty unique. And I think they develop running backs. But outside
they
of
definitely develop running backs. They develop linebackers. Tight ends. They develop the hell out of tight ends.
So in my mind, I think, and their draft probably shows this a little bit, is that they're probably going to draft what they know they can develop. And they're probably going to sign in free agency cheap deals for guys.
They'll sign Gardner Minshew. They'll sign Andy Dalton, have him back up. They'll sign the backup.
Correct.
And he'll be like a vet backup for Jimmy G. And the third string guy will be either Nick Mullins or Josh Rosen. End of story.
I also
that's so bleak.
I also see them drafting not a quarterback and then extending Jimmy, creating the space, and then saying, well, we didn't draft a quarterback because we were going to extend Jimmy this whole entire time. We've got the cap space. We'll extend Fred. We'll pick up a couple of June 1st cuts that are going to happen now. We're in great shape. This was our plan all along. We just kept everything close to the vest. And
we just ran it back.
It goes back to them being very conservative and knowing what they have. And You only do that when you can't develop something. When you know that this is what I have, this is what
And
I'm
let's
going
talk
to
about
do.
why do the Shanahans not develop quarterbacks? What is it about Kyle in particular that's not ideal for a young quarterback?
I go back to RG3. RG3's best year was his rookie year before he got hurt. And look at Jimmy G. Some could say his best games were before he got hurt. And I
Yep.
think Kyle is a very powerful figure, just like his father was. And he
Yes.
basically tells the quarterbacks, hey, you're young, you want to play in the league, do what I'm telling you, stop
Yes.
this ad-lib stuff. But
Yes.
a lot of those quarterbacks, and you see the same thing happening in Seattle.
Yes.
You can only ad lib for so long before you start losing games, right? Or you get exposed. You lose your quickness, you get hit a lot. Same thing's going to happen in Arizona. The Super Bowl, again, was won by some guy who you and me could outrun in a 40-yard dash. But what does he do? He executes the play better than anybody else, right? So they're going to fall back on that.
Right. I mean, like, I look at what he was in Washington with Kirk Cousins. When Kirk Cousins got in the game, when Kyle Shanahan was there, Kirk Cousins didn't do much. Kirk Cousins had good years under McVay. And then McVay went to LA and got a 23-year-old Jared Goff and made him functional.
Going to be cut, correct.
Going to be cut. And I just don't think that Kyle Shanahan can do the same thing. I think McVay, I don't know what it is, but I think Kyle's just negative. I've talked about it before. He's very demanding and he's very blunt. And I think to develop a 22-year-old quarterback, like you don't want to kill his confidence. The other teams are going to kill his confidence. You don't need to help. You need to build it up and be like, I know you struggled this week. You're young, man. You're great. You're great. And he's just not that kind of guy. He'll be like, yeah, man, you missed that. You missed that. You missed that. You missed that.
He may be the best play caller in the division, but I honestly do believe that McVay may be the best coach because I think coaching is more than play calling.
No question it's more than play calling.
He's the best question, but he took Goff, who basically was going to get cut and couldn't play under Fisher, and made him almost a Pro Bowler and got to the Super Bowl. Now Kyle can say he did the same thing with Jimmy, and I get that piece of it.
Jimmy was like 28, 27. And he spent 3 years in New England under Tom Brady, getting developed carefully. It's not like it was like Jared Goff was different. Jared Goff played as a rookie and was on the verge of being a bust, and McVay saved his career for like 3 years.
Correct. And I also think Kyle gets way too much credit for Nick Mullins. I think Nick Mullins is a very intelligent person. He developed himself. The way he carries himself like he's a 35-year-old veteran. And
that's why I love Nick Mullins.
He looks like he gets ID'd when he goes to the league.
No doubt, dude. When you see him in the locker room, you're like, is he on the team?
Correct.
Is he on the team? Yeah.
He's not the ball boy? Right.
He looks like the ball boy. He's going to go by everyone's locker and like pick up their trash from the ground. Like, hey, you still using this? Can I get that? Like, nah, man, that's the quarterback of the team.
And Nick Mullins was never supposed to get developed. It was supposed to be Beathard, and look how he turned out.
There's no development. Again, I feel like what Kyle does is he takes a quarterback like Matt Ryan, who's been developed, who's been to Pro Bowls, and basically the organization hasn't put a support system around him. There's no run game. It's all him. And Kyle's like, all right, well, let me bring in my zone stretch run game. Let me bring in my play action game, and I'll give you better throws, but I'll be very demanding. There's a lot for you to learn, and you may not like me at the end of year 2. And I think he can do that. I think his dad did that for Steve Young and John Elway, who were developed.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And so if they could get a guy like that, I mean, it's not like they developed Jay Cutler particularly well, Mike.
Nope.
If they could get a guy like that, if they could get Kirk Cousins, if they could get Matt Ryan, it could work. But bringing in Justin Fields,
that's not their MO. That's not going to happen. Like I said, I'll send a bottle of wine, but I'm telling you, the first 3 picks will not be a quarterback. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, I like your conviction. You're probably right. I'll send you a real nice bottle of wine if you're right, but you owe me if I'm right.
You got it.
All right, man. Good. Have fun. I hope your friend moves, buddy. Good luck.
Thanks.
Lift with your legs, not your back. Lift with your legs. All right, man. Later. Yo. Oh, what it do?
What's up, Grant?
What's going on, man?
Hey, I loved the Fields breakdown yesterday. As a Fields apologist,
Talk to me. What am I missing, man? Because you see what I'm seeing. I'm like, dude, what's up?
Man, that was tough to watch. There's no excuses I could make. I'm saying, Fields, throw the ball. The guy's open.
I'm watching that and being like, dude, Zach Wilson is better than Justin Fields. Zach Wilson wouldn't miss all these guys. Even in his worst game against Coastal Carolina, he really competed. I thought he was pretty good against Coastal Carolina. Justin Fields is like, man, you got all this time, all this space, all these open receivers, and you're like sitting there like, I don't know, man.
It was not a good look. You know, because I watched this season back starting from game 1. Nebraska, he shredded. Penn State was interesting. Watch the Penn State. He made some throws with guys in his face.
Okay.
And I was thinking, okay, love it. Yeah. Rutgers was the 3rd game, shredded.
Okay.
Then the Indiana game. And that's where he got, I mean, we saw it on the film. He was missing reads.
It was a very bad
Dudes are running open.
Yeah.
He couldn't beat the blitz. And that was concerning.
Yes. But it's like, it's okay. It's a one-off. That's fine. Have you watched the Northwestern game?
You know what? I was up till 1 a.m. watching Justin Fields last night, and that was the last game I watched.
Let me tell you, at 7 in the morning, I was watching it on my phone with my wife next to me. I was like, I just got to watch a little Justin Fields.
Yeah, I was on the couch with my iPad watching Northwestern last night, and a couple of the interceptions, the one on the sideline, him and the receiver just weren't on the same page, right? The receiver cut up field, and
no, but that throw was late. That was sprint right option. Throw the freaking ball, dude.
That's true. And then there was another pick. The DB made a one-handed Odell Beckham grab.
Yeah, that was just a 50-50 ball.
I mean,
that
one
I'm not. So the other one was late though. That's sprint right option, and he's waiting. It's like, come on, man. He's late.
What I will say is, when he does see it and when he does cut it loose, he's very accurate.
Oh yeah,
and he has a. So I'm thinking if Shanahan can give him these defined reads where it's just 1-2, you're not asking him to read a 4-read progression, right? You give him 1-2, and the third option is always his legs.
Yes, that's true.
So I think, and
it could work.
In the Niners offense,
it could work. But what I'm saying is, and I hear a lot of people saying this too, like, yes, if it could work for Jimmy, it can work for Fields. But what I see with Fields is, dude, if you can't beat the blitz with your arm, you're going to get nothing but blitzes. And there's nothing Kyle can do, man. You're going to have to find the outlet, know where it is, execute. Maybe Ohio State isn't doing a good job of helping him with that. Maybe Kyle can do a better job. But I just can't help but notice that that Kyle's quarterbacks get hit a whole lot. So it's kind of on you, man. You got to know what to do. And I don't see it yet. And that's just a function of inexperience or something worse.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, you know,
who do you like better, Fields or Wilson? Who do you like better, Fields or Wilson?
Wilson.
Okay.
Wilson. I like them both, though. And I would love if the Niners could get up. And you know what's funny? In my first Cohn phone, I sent you the clip. I was telling you the Niners need to trade up to 7 to get ahead of the Panthers. And then what is Mel Kiper? I started working on a YouTube video Wednesday night, getting my overlays ready about how the Niners should trade up to 7. And then Mel Kiper ruins my video by Thursday, releasing his mock saying the Niners are doing that exact same thing.
Yes. He's just stealing from you blatantly. And he gets all this money. Can you please give Bay Area Baller 18 some credit, Mel? Come on.
Yeah. Hey, but if
I wasn't too harsh on Justin Fields is what you're telling me.
No, you weren't. I mean, the evidence was right in front of our face. He was missing reads and missing throws, and I hated to see it.
Right. And I'm not trying to use it against him and be like, well, this is why he's going to be a bust. I'm just saying this is why he's going to be a project. And it depends where he goes, what kind of development he gets, I think.
And Josh Allen took a couple years to develop. So that's what I'm thinking is if we pass on him, are we passing on a potential Josh Allen type of quarterback?
Be honest. When you watch Justin Fields, do you see that type of tools and upside? I don't. With Josh Allen, I felt like, first of all, that's the strongest arm I've ever seen. I mean, I didn't see John Elway in the 80s. That's the strongest arm I've ever freaking seen. Plus, he's 6'5",
Josh
and can run a 4.6.
He's got a cannon.
That guy's the upper 1% of athletes in the NFL. Justin Fields is very athletic, but I don't think he's on that level. I think he's on
in the grand scheme of things.
With the more
in the grand scheme of things, if we passed on him, could we be passing on a potential all-pro quarterback that what he could develop into a few years down the line?
You could be. You could also with Trey Lance, but that's a scary reason to pick a quarterback because you're afraid that if you pass on him, he might turn out great. You need to take him because you believe you can be great on your team. If you're just taking him because you're scared, then dude, just give the job to someone else who's got more conviction. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
The last thing I'm going to say is we got to get one positive game from Fields because when the breakdown came out, when I got that alert 30 minutes till Grant Cohn's breaking down Fields, I'm like, all right, this is going to be either the Indiana game or the Northwestern game. I already knew it. So you got to break down either the Penn State or the Clemson, something where he's shredding, because the guy is a baller. He can make some
definitely
spectacular plays.
I feel like he has every tool is plus. You know, to use baseball terminology, every tool he has is plus. I don't know if there's any plus tool. I don't know if he's got any plus tools, but everything's plus. All I'm seeing is a guy who's unrefined, and that's probably Ohio State's fault. They don't prepare quarterbacks for the NFL. They just don't. And you can absolve him of blame, but you just got to know that he's not super prepared. And whichever team gets him has to have a real good plan for him. And that's why I said, like, I think Josh Allen's a good comparison. He may not have that type of upside, but Allen was a great fit for Buffalo because he went into a team that had a first-year head coach. And they're like, you know what? We suck. You suck. We're going to suck together. And in 3 years, we will grow into a great team. You bring in Justin Fields to the Niners, that is not the expectation. Like, this is year 5. You're supposed to be good. So if he could go to a team like the Jets and they're like, all right, man, sure, you're green, but that's fine. You're going to learn on the job and you're going to be great in a few years. He may or may not. But on the Niners,
25% of our throws are Jimmy gimmies anyway, though. I mean, he can hit the bubble, the jet sweeps and the swing and the screens. That's 25% of the offense right there.
Yeah. But all I'm saying is, dude, if you think Jimmy Garoppolo struggles to execute this, I don't think Justin Fields can do it better. He's a better athlete, but in terms of execution, he'll make Jimmy Garoppolo look like freaking Tom Brady in terms of execution. And maybe that's not the best reason to draft a quarterback because he doesn't execute well right now. But I'm not sure that he'll improve.
I forgot to compliment a couple of the callers that talked about Fields already, Ben and the 49ers fan kid. Both those calls, exceptional. All your callers are great. Last nugget I want to give you. Before I get out of here, my buddy used to travel with the Niners. I'm not going to disclose what nature of the team he was with, but he used to travel with the Niners, right? I'm talking the Harbaugh, the Chip Kelly, and the Tom Sula. He left, anyway.
Okay.
And when I talked to him about those coaches, I said, hey, Tom Sula, Chip Kelly, what was going on? He says, let me tell you, at least Tom Sula used to watch film on the flights. Tom Sula would be, watching the game back on the flight. He said Chip Kelly is watching Spider-Man eating Mike and Ike's.
Oh no.
That's what he told me. And
that is why I always felt that Chip Kelly was the worst coach I've ever covered, more than Tom Sula. I always felt that Tom Sula was a fool who cared and was over his head. I really felt like Chip Kelly could care less. He had the most lifeless locker room, the most lifeless practices, and the fact that you tell me that is the truth. And I criticized him endlessly. I wrote one time that his practice was silent, and he came up to me during practice and said, so what are you comparing this to? I was like, listen, Chip, listen. What are you comparing this to? That was the one thing that bothered him when I said your practices are dead. Because they were. They freaking were. You're dead, man. And now it's his fault. What are you comparing this to? Were you at Bill Walsh's practices? No. He said, were you at Bill Walsh's practices? No. I was at Jim Harbaugh's practices. This is dead. Listen, Chip. Sorry, dude. Get the hell out of town. Hey, Barry Baller, love you, man. Thanks for coming on.
Good stuff. Catch you next time.
All right, next time. I'm going to let Jesse jump to the front because he's on the show, but I'm going to get Forever, 30, Gustavo, Waruna. I'm going to get all you guys. And Cy, but I got to get Jesse real quick. Hold on. Jesse, what's up?
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, quick question for you. Did Fields pass up Wilson as your most overrated quarterback after that film?
Yeah. After watching Fields against Indiana, there's no way Zach Wilson would have been that bad. There's just no way. No way.
Right.
Fields has more physical gifts, but dude, what the hell? Is that just what playing at Ohio State does for you? It's just there's all this time, there's all this space, everyone's open. It's like, hey, man, I'll find a guy eventually, or I won't, and I'll run. Whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Like, whatever. Why do I have to execute? It doesn't matter. Everyone's open. The offensive line is great, and I'm fast, and I'm big. Like, I'll just take as much time as I need. That's how I.
And I've got a great running back as well. So.
Yeah. Who cares if I throw 3 picks in this game? We're still gonna win. Who cares?
Right.
Yeah.
So hey, real quick, I wanted to get to this because the only thing that frustrates me more than Jimmy fans and not wanting to let Jimmy go is fans that want to run it back. And so you and I have talked about this a couple times, but here's some things that 49er fans probably don't realize about the team's current state is they think that we're still young. We're actually the 4th oldest team in the NFL right now.
Say that again.
The 4th oldest. We are the 4th oldest team in the NFL. As of this year, we were.
How the hell did that happen?
Right.
Wow.
And even worse. If
Are the Raiders the oldest team?
No, Falcons actually. It's like us, Falcons, Saints, and someone else.
Dang.
Yep.
Ugh.
So with that said, we're talking about bringing guys like K1 back, Hyder, Trent Williams, Juice, Verrett, all guys over 30 years old.
Good point. The team has to get younger.
We do. We have to get younger. And by the way, as you age, injury becomes more of an issue.
Did you know? Yeah, that's a good point. Hey, John. Hey, Kyle. Consider. Yeah, it's a good point. The team is getting old. Do you want to make another commitment to Jason Verrett, to Kyle Juszczyk, to Trent Williams, or do you want to get some people in their 20s? That's a good point. Yep. It's a really good point. I hadn't thought of that. I think the Niner fans and the Niner organization is stuck in 2019. They're living in 2019. That was 2 years ago. That was pre-pandemic, Jesse. A lot
has changed. One more thing that I want to point out is as we age, if we bring back mostly the same unit, we will be no team in the NFL this year had an average age of older than 26.9 years. So we will be over 27 years old average age if we basically run it back with this same core.
So you're saying this team could be the oldest team in the league next year?
Yeah, we're on pace to be the oldest team if things stay together.
What the hell is going on in Santa Clara, Jesse? What the hell is going on there? When are they going to hire us, or at least just take our suggestions? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Hey, we still have to start the Twitter thing.
Which one?
We got to get it. The one with John Lynch. We got to get the official shout out to Lynch and Jed York. Let him know, like, hey, you can let Jimmy go. It's okay. We'll
yeah. We'll do that. Thanks,
all right,
Dan.
hey, this will probably be my last Cohn phone call. I don't want to take anything away from the callers. You and I probably are going to be going on every Wednesday together.
That's right.
So it's only right that I don't call in anymore. So appreciate it. Thank you for giving me the start, and we'll see you Wednesday.
Hey, real quick, this week, can we do we'll always do Wednesday, but I made some plans before we made this. Can we do Thursday this week?
We'll talk about
Thursday
it.
not work. We'll talk about it. We'll find a night. We'll find a night. All right, man.
Okay.
See you.
All right.
Where you at? Boom. Gustavo, what's up?
Hey, what's up, man? How's it going?
How you doing, man? What's going on?
Good. So I want to run a couple points by you. Over the past few days, I've heard a bunch of 49 articles, reporters, mock draft gurus saying things about the Niners, and then so I'm thinking that there's rumors of the Niners moving up and getting Justin Fields, and there's the rumors of them wanting a backup quarterback like Andy Dalton might be coming true because they may be pushing all their cards in for a rookie quarterback in the draft. It's just a thought, but they do that, they're gonna have to trade a bunch of draft picks for the next 2 to 3 years. But it won't matter what the amount of cap space they'll have. They'll be able to sign so many players. You have your rookie quarterback, your veteran quarterback, Andy Dalton. You sign as a backup.
So what you're saying is it's possible that all this stuff that Lynch is saying right now is basically a smokescreen to conceal the fact that the Niners are planning on taking the quarterback around.
Yeah, that's what I got out of it, because if you do that, I think the cap's going to be 183 this year, but it's just going to go up every year, and eventually in about 3 years, it'll be about 210 even higher. And with that, and with the cap going up, you're still going to have for 4 years, you'll have a quarterback on a rookie contract. You'll be able to pay Trent Williams. You'll literally be able to buy 3 new linemen, 2 starting cornerbacks, bring players back, Jaquaski Tart. You could really load up the team.
Right.
So the picks the next 2 or 3 years won't matter as much, because with the cap space moving up every year, you'll be able to get new players that don't affect the cap space the year before.
Right. And again, if you remember, like with Trent Williams, when John Lynch was like, "Hey, Joe Staley's coming back. Nothing leads me to believe he's not coming back."
Yeah.
He was saying that, so people didn't know that the Niners were desperate for an offensive tackle, and wouldn't like gouge them in a trade. Like they were trying to not be so desperate. And it seems to me that fits here. Like if the Niners want to move up for Justin Fields at number 7, saying that they love Jimmy Garoppolo and he's going to be the starter next year, changes the trade negotiations. Instead of the Lions being like, well, we know you're going to move on from Jimmy. Like, we know you need to do this. Give us everything. Now the Niners can be like, well, if it suits us, we'll move up. But otherwise, we're perfectly willing to not make this trade because we're not desperate. We like Jimmy, and yada, yada, yada. It sounds like posturing. And if you're right, it's Smokescreen so they can go up and get Justin Fields. That's very interesting. You're the first person on this show who said that. Everyone else is taking him at face value that, like, look, no quarterback this year. The Niners are telling the truth. It might be Smokescreen Central.
You bringing that up, that also reminded me that the Niners never make noise. Every move that they've ever made was out of surprise. Jimmy Garoppolo, the Forrest Buckner traded, everyone was shocked. Even
Trent Williams, oh my God, I thought Joe Staley was coming back. Yep.
Exactly. Like, so, don't be surprised. I saw a rumor that Washington, if nothing goes their way, they could be interested in Garoppolo. And I just don't believe anything John Lynch or Kyle's saying. So
me neither. And why shouldn't they? It's basically they're not. Their job isn't to tell the truth. Their job is to do what's best for the organization. And right now, that's in line.
Yeah. Why are they gonna ruin Jimmy's trade value? That makes no sense to talk bad about your employee and
it's done.
It makes sense. But
it's done.
That's all I want to say. Take care.
All right, man. Good stuff, man. Always a pleasure to see you, man.
All right, you too. Take care.
All right. I'm gonna go to Sai and then Waruna and then Shardal. All right. Sai and then Waruna and then Shardal. How you doing, Sai?
I'm doing great, Grant. How are you?
I'm all right. I can't wait to hear what's on your mind today.
Yeah. So today I wanted to do something different. I actually wanted to make this a little bit of an appreciation for the work that you do. And after listening to your story that you shared, right? I mean, how it was challenging for you not too long ago, and how this year has been excellent and the strides that you made in the career. So I just wanted to share my appreciation. Of course, I would say I started following you maybe back in 2012, 13. And this is back when I was just scrounging through the internet, just trying to read some good articles on 49ers. And at that time, I felt that your articles were always the most interesting for me to read. And that was primarily because I felt that while there was a lot of articles online, the English, I mean, the way you were narrating the story and the way you articulated your opinions, I felt that I really enjoyed reading that. And of course, your dad's as well.
Thank you.
So again, that was one. And then the second thing that I wanted to make is the other reason I like to follow you is because of the intellect aspect that is associated with everything that you do. And I know that you and your dad have talked about it, right? And that's something that I really appreciate. A lot of times people on Twitter interpret it as like, hey, this is just argument. This is just like you're doing things to grab the clicks. But I always felt that the reason I liked following you was because it makes you think. And I feel, again, football as a game is the main reason I follow the game is because of the intellect aspect that is involved in it. And it's not just about the X's and O's, which is wonderful, but also about the fact that, I mean, you guys talk about hey, what is going through the players' minds, what is going through the coach's mind, and
the psychological aspect,
the psychological aspect, and what Bill Walsh was thinking. I always felt that intellect aspect was something that again I enjoy the most. And then the last one, what I want to say is the thing that I really like, and which I feel that, again, at least in my opinion, separates you from a lot of other reporters, is your ability to listen to what everybody says out there, right? And again, I think that I feel is a very key attribute because, again, I work in the Silicon Valley in high tech and all of that stuff. But one of the key things that we always talk about is the ability to listen, and I feel that you are exceptional in that, in terms of how you can synthesize all the different information. The way you listen to all your fans, I feel is phenomenal. And then
thank you.
Yeah, and then
let me say real quick.
Yeah.
What I want to say, what people don't know about Sai is Sai's been watching since before I had a YouTube channel, since I was on Periscope and it was like 30 people, and Sai always felt that Sai was as perceptive and smart as anyone who was in contact when watching me. And I always love to listen to Sai because he's brilliant and has his own perspective. And I do like listening to fans, but like, you're the original. Like, you are the original guys. Like, I don't know who this dude is, but he is brilliant. And I want to know what he thinks about the 49ers. So thank you for sticking around and coming on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was my pleasure. And the reason I stuck, Grant, I really appreciate you reciprocating. And the reason I stuck is because I felt that you always made me think, because I think that's the fun part. I mean, one part is, of course, you're a fan, but also the reason I follow this game is because of the intellect aspect that is associated with it. Because you always want to like get your creative juices flowing. And I always felt that, I mean, the way you bring out all the different aspects, it just gets creative juices going. And a lot of times, of course, like during the day, I find it difficult to keep up, but I always try to see like, hey, what is there in your mind? And I feel like
the people who gravitate to this channel and stuff are people who are open-minded and like to listen as well and like different viewpoints. And so when we all get on here in the Cohn phone, like, we all learn.
Exactly.
It's a very specific kind of fan.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you just love that debate and just it makes you think. And then the last one, which I really appreciate you, is like, I mean, the way you're giving opportunities to all these young people. I mean, starting with Vish, and it almost feels like you have the ability to spot talent, which again is a big thing in the companies that where I work, and how you identify that young talent and how do you give opportunities, right? And I feel that again, you're doing a phenomenal job in just like giving opportunity to so many people who want to start their careers, which again, I feel that as a mentorship is phenomenal. And again, I just want to share this because I see so many parallels between like what happens in a technology firm and like in any corporate world to what you're doing. And of course, like what you're doing it's again extremely a lot more challenging because I mean, as we all know, it's highly competitive to be a sports writer, and the amount of hard work you got to put in. I almost feel that I look at you and get a sense for that. Yeah,
it's basically impossible to break into the sports writing community. And what I'm trying to do, I feel like I've created a new lane, and I'm trying to show people like, you don't have to wait for the Athletic to call you up when you're 45. You don't have to struggle your whole life. You can do this too. And I like to be able to get all these people their starts. And just I mean, look at how Vish has taken off in 4 months. I mean, if you have the talent and you have the work ethic, boom, it goes fast. And honestly, Sai, if you wanted to do it, you could do it too. I have a feeling you kind of know what you're doing in life, but you were the original, man. You could do this.
Yeah. I mean, again, I just feel that I probably don't have the time commitment to do it because I respect the work that you do, and for me it's about following. I would love to. I just love these conversations, and I love to talk about this with you because again, purely from an intellect perspective. But I just feel that I would not be fair to a lot of other people like who are spending a lot more time, because like my full-time job is of course like in the tech industry, and I spend way too much time. But
well, I got to say, every time I do the Cohn phone, like an hour before, I'm like, I wonder if Sai's going to call in today. I hope Sai calls in, and I'm curious what he's thinking. And that's basically I don't know if I'm great at spotting talent. I listen to a lot of sports talk, and I know when people are just regurgitating stuff they had heard other places, and I know when someone has something to say. And I like people who have something to say. I just do. And it can be way different than me, but if you make me think, then you should come on the show. And you always do. You always do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a fun part. Yeah, just keep up the great work. And again, I just wanted to make this a little bit different and share my appreciation.
I really appreciate it,
for the work that you do. And it was really good to see the story. A lot of times we don't realize. I mean, I could always sense that sports making it in the sports writing industry is extremely challenging, sports media. But I mean, just listening to your story and seeing you sort of like come a long way. And like you said, you're making your own lane, right? Which would be like very similar to a startup in tech industry or Silicon Valley. You got to find your own way, and it's great
because there's like two jobs. There's like two jobs, and they just. I mean, you got to go independent. I think at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Grant. And just
Sure.
One last thing, I mean, like again, switching topics, like in this thing, one thing that I'm curious about is, and I would like to hear your thoughts, and maybe if you can do a video background, that'll be great as well, as is where does Jordan Love compare to all these other players? Like, for example, what I feel is if you look at all the teams, starting with Atlanta, Panthers, Niners, everybody had a chance to pick Jordan Love last year. I mean, if they really thought that he was that development prospect, just like what the Packers did, any of these teams could have done. Now, if they didn't do that, why do we think that they're going to pick a Trey Lance or a Justin Fields this year? I think that's a question that I'm curious about.
Because Trey Lance, Justin Fields, those guys are just as or more inexperienced than Jordan Love. And Jordan Love was basically drafted because he had one good year in 2018. His final year at Utah, whatever, wasn't very good. Utah State, it wasn't very good. He was a one-year wonder, and they said, well, his supporting cast left, everyone left. Okay, well, he got drafted on 1 year at a small school and was a first-round pick. I mean, I think Kellen Mond has a better resume than that. I mean, a lot of guys have a better resume than that, which makes me feel like a lot of guys could go in round one if teams view Jordan Love that highly, or the Packers did. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. I think what I feel is like understanding Jordan Love's game, or maybe looking that a little bit deeper, might give us insights into what teams might do this year with Justin Fields and Trey Lance.
If Jordan Love was considered a first-round pick, then geez, what's Mac Jones going to be? What's Kyle Trask going to be? I agree. Correct. Jordan Love's resume was paper thin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. People compare the prospects to Jordan Love, because that's definitely how the NFL is going to do it. I agree.
Yeah.
All right, Sai.
All right.
Thanks for that. Was a really nice call. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'll see you soon. Hey, man.
Hi, Grant. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, doing good. Saturday.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to ask like a couple of questions from you.
Go for it, man.
So basically, this is based on an interview I watched on YouTube like last week. This interview was done by Graham Bensinger with Alex Smith.
Okay.
3 years old interview. I highly recommend anyone to watch this interview.
Okay.
So there he was saying, so now he was drafted at the first overall.
Okay.
I mean, that literally meant he was coming to the worst organization.
No question.
Right? Mm-hmm. So he was trying to get his feet, get on his feet, doing what he's supposed to do. Mm-hmm. But the organization was really messy. The coaches were changing. He had 17 different wide receivers, right? So things were not going good. On Alex Smith's own words, he said the organization was dysfunctional.
It was.
Right? It was. Now, then after that, you had Jimmy Harbaugh era, successful in terms of on-field success, I believe. Then, as I said, Tom Sula, Chip Kelly. Then now we are on to Kyle Shanahan's era, 4 years. So since you have been on that locker room, you have the first-hand experience. My first question is, do we have a good culture that we can build on to the future compared to what Alex Smith experienced?
It's not as bad as it was 15 years ago. It was really bad 15 years ago. They have built something. I mean, Kyle's been there 4 years. But I still, they've had one winning season since 2013.
Yes.
I don't think they really have a very strong culture the way that Seattle does, Pittsburgh does, Baltimore does. They're trying. They have a culture. In the past few years, they were like talking like, well, it's a brotherhood. They play hard even if they lose. They're all tightly knit. Well, are they still? I think that a lot of those guys we used to be young. Now they're old and paid. It's a different team now. I don't know what the culture is really. What do you think?
That's the interesting thing is every time we heard someone speaks, it's always positive things. Because, for example, let's say Russell Wilson, he basically threw his offensive line under the bus. Right? Yep. So, but we still don't hear that stories coming from Niners. Even this other like team players on the other teams, they say willing to play for Kyle Shanahan and Niners organization. So it's maybe can be some delusional, but as fans, what we see is we can judge only based on the things that is available to us. So
yeah, when I was looking at the early Kyle Shanahan era, it's like they had a lot of young players who weren't making a lot of money. So what were they going to? I mean, they didn't have divas. They didn't have celebrities on their team. Now George Kittle's a celebrity. Jimmy Garoppolo's worth $100 million. It's a lot of really expensive players on the team. And is it the same happy-go-lucky, innocent, young group that just wants to compete? I don't know. I don't know about that. It's different. So I don't know.
So
we got to look at that culture.
Yeah, that's the first thing I wanted to know. The second thing was, so this might be kind of, again, you might think I'm a Jimmy fan when I ask this question, but not a Jimmy fan, just asking this based on what will going to happen. So in that interview, right? So Alex Smith said, now he was trying to be the quarterback of the organization, and Jerry Rice publicly said, this is not our future. This is not our franchise quarterback. When the greatest player of all time says that, it has a lot of gravity, a lot of weight. Other thing was, fans were not kind to him as well. So they booed him, and always they basically express that Alex Smith is not our quarterback.
Right.
What shocked me was he said that he was more looking to road games, away games, rather than playing at Candlestick.
Because he didn't want to get booed. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
because he was under tremendous pressure.
It was humiliating. Yeah.
Yes. So here comes my question. The way I listened to the previous caller saying about that John Lynch is just not saying the truth, etc. Everything. Yes, that's true. I mean that's probably the truth, but the way things are going at the Santa Clara, what I feel is in another 6 to 7 months, when the season starts, there is a high chance that Jimmy G would be our starting quarterback.
Seems like it. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So considering that, if Jimmy G is going to start, where should we draw the line when it comes to criticizing him? So open-ended question.
That's not my concern. That's a fan question, man. If you guys want to, support him and make him feel loved, then go ahead and do it. But that's just, they don't pay me enough. They would have to pay me to do that. Like, Kyle, that's your job, buddy. I don't know what to tell you on that. No, I don't think. The way I remember Alex Smith years, it's not that the fans hated him. It's they did, because he wasn't Aaron Rodgers. But it was also the organization made it real clear too, like he's not good enough. And I think fans took their cues from the coaches, like, hey, the organization doesn't like him. Why should we be happy with him? So if Kyle could actually praise him, and if they actually extended his contract, that would go a long way to Jimmy Garoppolo being loved by the fans. But honestly, if Jimmy Garoppolo could just stay healthy and play well, everyone will like him again. People are mad because last year was awful. He was gone the whole time. So if he could just come back and play well one game and be healthy, Niner fans would totally forgive him. Totally forgive him. Don't you think?
Yes, exactly.
All would be forgiven. Hey, man, forget 20. You know what I mean?
Yes, but I had to ask the question.
It's a good point. It's a really good point, man. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for waiting.
Okay.
I'll be back tomorrow if you're around.
Okay, sure.
All right, man. See you.
Bye.
Okay. All right. Chardal. Sorry to make you wait. Hey, nice fit you got going. You got a whole. I like it, man. How you doing? Love it, man. Appreciate it. What's going on?
So I have two questions for you. My first question is, do you think that the 49ers should draft Trey Lance at number 12 in the draft?
No.
2020.
Hell no. I don't. No.
My second question is that if I wanted to get into sports media, do you have any tips to recommend me that if I wanted to be a sports writer? Because I really like the field. It's a really exciting field. I wanna be a sports writer.
Yeah.
It's really exciting. Do you have any tips for me that would help me be successful in that field?
Yeah, absolutely. Tips for how to be a sports writer. This is a tough one. I would just say do it, man. Do it. If you want to write something, write it. If you want to say something, record yourself. Don't think of it as like you need to develop or learn. Just start. If you want to become a good writer, read a book. All these things are out there. You don't have to wait for the outlet. You can just do it, man. I think you just want to start. And what you'll do is you'll improve by doing. You'll improve by doing. Like, I've been doing this 10 years. I'm way better than I was 10 years ago because I do this every day. It's like, think of it as like learning how to play the piano, man. You need reps. So what you should do, and coming on the show is a good start. You're talking, you're arguing, you're expressing your thoughts in a organized way. That's a good start. Start a YouTube channel, start a blog, have a Twitter. Those three things. If I were 22 and I wanted to start and no one knew who I was, I would get a Twitter, a YouTube channel, and a blog. And I would just start going. I would try to make myself part of the conversation. What I did back in the day before there was Twitter, it was 49ers Web Zone. If you wanted to talk Niners, you had to go on a forum and talk at 49ers Web Zone. So that's what I did. I started engaging in the conversations, and I was pretty good at it. That's what you're doing right now. You're engaging in the conversation. So you know what the topics are. You got to have something to say, and then you got to say it. And it doesn't matter if you write it, if you tweet it, if you say it on a video. Just start doing it and listen to your feedback. If people say, I like this, give them more. If people say this doesn't work, learn. I think that's just start, man. Don't wait for someone to tell you. Just start. Is that decent advice?
Yeah, that's decent.
And you already started. You're on the show, man. So good for you.
Yeah.
Okay, man. Well, it's always great to see you. I'll see you tomorrow if you're around.
See you tomorrow.
All right, man. That was a simple question and it was hard. Michael, I'm going to get you. Adam was first. Adam, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, Grant?
Thanks for waiting, man.
No problem. My connection was terrible.
That's all good.
3 weeks ago when I called in.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I know I had some good topics. I ruined your show. I ruined it.
No. Where are you calling from?
Right outside my house in Richmond right now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What's up?
But I actually wanted to ask you about Daniel Brunskill. Everybody's favorite offensive lineman.
So you don't want to talk about Jimmy Garoppolo or Justin Fields for the 8,000th. All right, let's talk about Daniel Brunskill.
Yeah, I like to talk 49ers that are actually going to be on the team next year. Neither one of those guys are for certain. But I will say that I like Jimmy Garoppolo because it's must-see football. You don't know if he's going to throw for 300 yards, 50 yards. You don't know
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde for sure, yes.
What game plan? Is Kyle going to call with Jimmy under center?
It's must-see. You're right.
Yeah. And he doesn't really get blown out other than when he's hurt.
It's true.
So he's always competitive.
It's true.
But the Jimmy Ward of the offense, it was interesting. The other thing was just yesterday. He actually posted on his Instagram a video against the Packers in the second half of him blocking at left tackle. And I thought it was I thought it was interesting. I think we've all realized.
What are you trying to say? Yeah. What are you trying to say?
I want to know what Kyle was trying to tell him. I want to know what he knows. Does he know something is he playing tackle next year? Has he been told
for it? He might compete for it.
Can we agree that he's worse inside?
He's not better inside. So yeah.
He's not better inside.
No. He's built like a tackle.
He's the same size as Joe Staley, 6'5", 300, 305.
There you go. Yep. There you go.
Former tight ends. He's not nearly as athletic. Throw that out.
And if Trent Williams isn't coming back, and I'm starting to think he's not. Like I'm starting to think if he was going to come back, he would have signed by now. And the Niners probably aren't going to win a bidding war for Trent Williams in like unrestricted free agency. So if he's gone, they could draft a guy, although they may not want to take Rashawn Slater at 12 or trade up for Penei Sewell. Maybe their best option is let Justin School and Daniel Brunskill compete.
I don't know about Justin School.
I don't know about Justin School either. Like as bad as Mike McGlinchey was last year, Justin School was worse. Yeah. For the same reason. Skinny.
Yeah.
Skinny.
And when you go back to where last season, 2019, when School and Brunskill are both starting, School's on the left side, Brunskill's on the right. The left side's getting caved in every play. The right side looks pretty good though.
It does. You called him the Jimmy Ward of the offense because he keeps getting bounced around. He can't land on one spot, right?
Yeah. Kyle, I mean, good for him. Great for him. Good for the Niners to have him. I would like to see him be resigned, for the future, but I don't know how he's going to do that without having a position.
Well, here's the thing. He's not as good of a run blocker as Mike McGlinchey. He's a better pass protector than Mike McGlinchey.
Yeah.
For sure. So maybe he could play left tackle. He'd be cheap. They've won games with him at playing tackle before. Let him and Justin School compete, maybe with a rookie as well. Forget Justin School. He needs to. Both him and Mike McGlinchey need to add 30 pounds. I don't understand who told them that they should play offensive tackle at like 285, but that was a bad suggestion. Don't listen to those people.
I think School and McKivitz, 7th round and 5th round picks, they were both, in good conferences, but I don't think, they were started a lot of games. I don't know if those were the best picks as offensive.
I don't think so. They took McKivitz because they liked some reps that they saw from him at the Senior Bowl. I'm sorry. That didn't work out.
Bad picks.
So you want to see Brunskill at left tackle, or are you thinking that the Niners are considering it?
I want to see him at tackle.
At tackle.
Yeah. He could start at either one.
That's a good point. Hey, if you want to move on from Mike McGlinchey, you could give Daniel Brunskill a shot. If you want to have a competition, because I think Mike McGlinchey at the very least needs he needs someone to push him, because I don't think
he's going into his last year, right?
Yes.
Or is it next?
Yes, he is. It's a contract year. So if that doesn't motivate him to play better and get in shape, get his weight up, then I don't know what is. What would?
I want to get off this because I know you got a lot of callers. You're very popular. You're a busy guy.
Very popular, man. What are you doing today? What do you got on deck?
I haven't seen my mom all month.
Oh, nice.
So I got flowers for her, and because I miss Valentine's Day, and I usually come down every Saturday from Sacramento to make her breakfast.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Son of the freaking month over here. Wow.
It's hard work.
Someone's got to do it though. Are you an only child?
No. I got an older brother and older sister.
All right, so you're just putting them to shame then. Well,
yeah, I'm just the
do your
best.
thing. Thanks for calling in, man.
Thanks, Grant.
All right, for sure. He said, yeah, I'm just the best. I love that. What's up, Michael? How you doing?
You want to build your YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Join my 49er Fans for Life group. We got 117,000 plus members.
Is it on Facebook?
On Facebook.
Oh,
join it and start posting your links. Well, I send it to you, but you don't answer me on Facebook.
Oh my good. Hold on.
Start posting this in there so that people know you're going live. I'm telling you, you'll grow it by
Michael. I will. Hold on. Michael Miller. I don't see no email from you.
Not an email.
Oh.
On Facebook,
DM.
I sent you a private message.
Facebook. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'll look. I don't go on Facebook very much, but I need to because
we got 117,000 49er fans in one group, largest 49er group in Facebook.
Michael,
join it.
Thank you, Michael. I'm in. I'm freaking in. All right, I'll be in this weekend. I'm going, but I'm in. I believe that. Thank you. That's very generous of you. I appreciate it. I've been trying to break into the Facebook market because I know that's what drives everything. So what's up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, your group will be triple in 6 months.
Thank you. Let's do it. Okay, what's up? What else do you want to talk about?
All right, I want to talk about Mac Jones at number 12.
Let's do it.
If we can't get Zach Wilson for some reason, I like Mac Jones also, and I don't know if, I've heard y'all talk and stuff like that. I mean, I don't care that he's got 2 top wide receivers on the team. He's got the best offensive line in the team. I mean, he did do it. Is he the one making everybody better around him?
He's better than Tua. He is better than Tua. But I don't know what that means because I don't like Tua. Here's the thing with Mac Jones. He has the anticipation, which is beautiful. It's great. My question is, how is he going to do with bodies around him? Like, it's basically the Jared Goff question. When Jared Goff has time and space, he can throw the hell out of a ball. He's basically everything you want from a pocket passer. But when things close in on him, he's ordinary. And with Mac Jones, you can see some clips where he's great with bodies around him. You can see some clips where he's a little freak with bodies around him. And it's just so infrequent because he's at Alabama. It's hard to have an opinion on
There's a way to fix the O-line real quick. Tell me. Alex Mack. He wants to come and play for us. He done said it.
Yeah. He's played for college before. He went to college out here.
Yeah. A center would make a huge difference on it. And this draft is loaded in offensive guard from round 2 to round 4.
And as the previous caller said, you got Daniel Brunskill, who could play some offensive tackle if necessary.
Brunskill did not do bad at all when he played for us at left tackle.
I'm gonna say something about Mac Jones. I think he actually could execute the offense better than Jimmy Garoppolo. When I watch Mac Jones, he executes extremely well. He just has no physical traits that are impressive, but neither does Jimmy.
Well, I don't know if I could say this on your show, but Jimmy needs to pull the tampon out and start playing if he wants. He's done.
All I'm saying is, wow, you really said it. Okay. I feel like Jared Goff is one of the softest quarterbacks in the league. And I feel like Jimmy Garoppolo is like in the running. Like, Jimmy, you gotta show. You gotta show.
He needs to man up.
Man. You got to, man. You missed all that time with a high ankle sprain. Come on, man.
If there's other players that play with high ankle
sprains.
Come on,
man. I mean,
you take Brett Favre played the day his daddy died.
Yeah, Phil Rivers played with a torn ACL. Guys have played with broken. Dude, you gotta. I'm not calling you soft,
pull it out.
but other people are, and you need to prove something. I'm with you on that.
And do you think we could get the 15th overall pick for Jimmy G if we throw him a 2nd round pick next year and a 5th round this year? Would that get us the 1st for Jimmy?
Oh,
Belichick would love to have him.
Belichick. Oh, so they have 14. They have 14.
And 15, number 15 pick. Our 2nd round next year, 5th this year, and Jimmy G for the 15th.
It'd be worth a shot.
He's hating Tom Brady, holding up 7 fingers now.
You want to send Jimmy Garoppolo back to the Patriots. The Patriots need to get him back. Caller last week, Sunil threw out a trade of Jimmy G and a 2nd for Stephon Gilmore. You'd rather have the 14th pick in the draft than a 30-year-old corner. I don't know if the Patriots. You know what? I hadn't thought of it. Let me think about it. Why do you think? Why do you think they would say yes?
Next year in Jimmy G for the 15th overall, and then draft the pass rusher out of Miami with that pick.
There you go. I don't see why not. Call him up, trade Jimmy in as many twos as it takes to get that 15th pick.
Exactly.
I'll be on Facebook this weekend. I'll get back to you. Thank you.
Be on Facebook. I'm gonna private message you a link to it again and join the group because I created it, and it took me about 10 years to get it to 117,000 people.
I have 300 followers on Facebook, so thank you very much. I will talk to you this week.
This is a way to grow your channel. Like I said,
you're the man.
You could probably have 100,000 followers in 6 months.
I owe you. Thank you.
Thank
you. Oh yeah, big time. Appreciate you. Yeah. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right. You see, you help out enough people, and someone like Mike Miller comes in at the very boom. I want that. Yes, Facebook is woo. Alex, you're the last caller of the day. What's popping, man? Hey, you're muted. You're muted real quick. Just got to press that little mic button on the thing.
Sorry about that.
All good. What's up, man?
Right. So I got a little question for you. All right. It's kind of a little hypothetical thing.
Sure.
All right.
Nice shoes, by the way. I see some Jordans.
Thank you. Yeah, nice. Jordans, Yeezys, all that. All right. So pretend you're the GM of the 49ers, right?
Pretend I am okay, go on.
All right, fine. All right, you're John. Right? All right. So would you agree there's about 5 players with huge contracts, right?
Oh yeah.
Which are which is Kittle, then there's D Ford, Jimmy, Armstead, Weston Richburg. And you can kind of debate that you can give another big contract to Trent Williams, but let's just say it's 5, right? 5.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Let's go back to 2019, right? Buckner's still on the team. Sanders is still on the team, right?
That's a great point, baby. Make that point.
And let's say you know that Ayuk is going to be what he is, and you're going to get Trent Williams and blah blah blah. All right. Let's say you don't owe anybody money. This is Madden franchise mode. You don't owe anybody money.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you give those 5 big contracts to? If you want
right now.
Yeah. If you want, I can go first while you.
No, go ahead. No, you go. You go. Yeah, you go.
So number 1, I give it to Kittle.
Okay.
Of course, Kittle, because he's a double threat in the run game and pass game.
Okay.
I give it to Warner. That's 2 because he's a leader and one of the best linebackers in the league. Mm-hmm. Number 3 is a hard because I would give it to either Bosa or Buckner.
Okay.
I don't want to make the same mistake, but right now I'm gonna say Buckner because he's proven and Bosa with his injury. Okay. Number 4, I don't give it to anybody. I wait for a franchise QB to come in. I give the money to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then number 5, I'm stuck between Trent Williams, Ayuk, and either a future corner. But for now, I'm going to say Trent Williams.
Okay, let me try. I'm going to say Buckner because he's young and a leader and durable. Warner, young, leader, durable. Also, Buckner and Warner aren't playing premium positions. So even though Buckner's expensive, he's not as expensive as Bosa's going to be.
That's true.
So those 2, Buckner and Warner. Kittle as well, even though he does have injury issues, he's not that expensive. I mean, he's actually cheaper than what Brandon Ayuk might get in a couple of years because Ayuk's a wide receiver. So those 3 are no-brainers, I would say. And then after that, it's tough. Like, do you really want to give Nick Bosa the money he's going to get on the open market? Do you really want to give Deebo Samuel or Ayuk $17 million a year if they get that? I don't know. So those, I got 3. And then after that, I don't know if there's anyone I would definitely want to give a ton of money to. Like, look at Pittsburgh. What they do is they draft a wide receiver every year in round 2 or round 3, and they usually don't re-sign the guys. They just keep churning them because I think they feel like, first of all, it's super expensive to re-sign wide receiver. It's a premium position. And, you know, the rookies that they get are good. And a lot of the time, what determines how good a wide receiver is his quarterback anyway. So if you have Big Ben, then Deontay Johnson in year 2 probably going to be a pretty good player. You don't have to give Juju Smith-Schuster $50 million, that kind of thing. So did I answer your question? Yeah, those 3. I don't know about giving Brandon Ayuk. When it comes to Ayuk, Deebo, Bosa, the guys who are really expensive, I start to weigh what their trade value is against what their contract value is, because that's a lot of money. It's a lot.
The reason I like debate about Bosa is because I think he has a higher ceiling, but Buckner is more consistent.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Bosa, Buckner doesn't miss time.
Like, yeah,
mistake.
I know. If
and you wonder why Adam Peters didn't get a GM job. I'm sure the teams that brought him in were like, hey, what was up with that Armstead contract? What was up with that Buckner trade? Why did you draft Solomon Thomas? Yeah, he didn't get the GM.
Yo, consistently, Armstead's been having 3 to 2 sack seasons, while Buckner's lowest year was a 3 sacks. Like, the hell.
That's right.
But,
yeah,
what the hell? It is what it is.
It is what it is. Good call, man. Yeah. Thanks for. Is that a Kittle jersey? I should have known you would have put Kittle on your list.
Yeah, for sure.
All right,
thanks
man.
for having me, man.
Of course, man. Go have a good day.
You too.
All right. That was fun. Alex, you were a great caller. Everyone, you did so great today. Sai, you were really, really sweet. Thank you so much. Show is over now. Hour and a half. I got some stuff to do today, but I'll be back tomorrow afternoon. If I didn't get you, if something happens, we can talk tomorrow. So I'll see you maybe 2, 3, 4, something like that. I'll let you know. I'll tweet it. I'll see you then. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Have a great